Good morning, reception. Thank you for joining me today for our literacy lesson. Now, in today's literacy lesson, we're going to talk about an illustration. We'll get on to that in a minute, but first of all, what you'll need this lesson is to be able to see the illustrations that we sent you at the end of this lesson. Now, before we start our lesson, I've got a question for you. In our story that we read yesterday called Giraffes Can't Dance, Gerald the Giraffe found it really hard to dance. I wonder, why might giraffes find it hard to dance? I'd like you to pause the video now and see if you can remember why giraffes find it hard to dance. Pause the video now and talk to your helper. What did you come up with? That's right. In the story, it says that giraffes have very thin legs and they have bendy knees. So I think that if giraffes have very thin legs and bendy knees, they might start falling all over the place when they start to dance. Well done, reception. Now, in our lesson today, we're going to be looking at illustrations and talking about illustrations in a book. What does illustration mean? Now on the screen, I've showed you the 4 parts that make up the word illustration. I'm going to show you. Il-a-stray-tion. There's 4 syllables. Il-a-stray-tion. I'd like you to practice saying the words illustration. Your turn. Wow, well done. Illustration. But what does illustration mean? If you think you know, you can pause the video now to share your ideas with your helper. If you're not sure, that's okay. Keep watching. An illustration is a picture that is found in a storybook. An illustration might tell us more information about what's happening in the story. It might help us to know what the characters are doing. Here we can see the Gruffalo talking to the little mouse. We can see the mouse's facial expression, and we can see the Gruffalo's facial expression. So we get an idea of how they're feeling. I'd like you to pause the video now and say what you can see in some of these illustrations. What could you see? Well, we can see a cat. That's Mog, the cat climbing with a bit of a sad face. And we know that one at the bottom with Sue Potato exploring through all the food to try to find the evil pea. And then we've got the aliens. Do you remember the aliens who love underpants? Super. Now in this lesson, we're going to be looking at how we can talk about an illustration and use lots and lots of words to describe what's happening. In our story, Giraffes Can't Dance, this is the first illustration, the first picture. And the words say, Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. So we can see here lots and lots of different things in our picture. Can you see that I've circled Gerald the giraffe? Now, I'm going to describe this illustration. I'm going to describe this part of our illustration, Gerald the giraffe. I can see that Gerald the giraffe has a very long and slim neck, just like the words say. But I can also see that he's eating some leaves. I can see that he looks quite happy. He looks quite content. He doesn't look worried and he doesn't look scared. Now, the words don't tell us that, but we use the illustrations to see extra information. So I can see that Gerald is looking quite happy and quite content eating his leaves. What else can I see? Can you see my next red circle, reception? Now I can see two monkeys. Two monkeys are sitting in the tree and they're watching the sun set. One of the monkeys is cuddling the other monkey. I think they're really good friends. This picture, this illustration makes me feel really happy. I know that Gerald is happy eating his leaves, and I can see some monkeys high up in the tree, quietly watching the sun setting. I'd like to be in that illustration. I can see something else in our illustration. What's in our red circle? Can you spot it? I can see a cheeky animal who's hiding in the grass. I wonder what that animal might be doing. Maybe that gives us a clue that something a little bit serious is going to happen in this story. Now, this time we're going to talk together about an illustration. So you're going to help me. Let's have a go. Now, this is an illustration from a little bit later in our book. And the words say, now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. So these words tell us that they have a special party in Africa called the jungle dance, where all the animals, it says every single animal, so we know it's all the animals, turn up, so all the animals come and they skip and prance. Now prance means dancing. They skip and they dance. Now, we're going to talk about the lion in this illustration. I can see that the lion is lying back, looking very relaxed. He's watching something and he looks like he's having a really good time. I'd like you to pause the video now and talk to your helper about the lion in this illustration. Pause the video now. Super job, reception. I wonder what you said. Now, just to add a little bit more, I can see that the lion is looking at something, and I'm going to look, see what he might be watching. I think he's watching the animals on the drums. I think it's a show, and I think he's relaxed and enjoying the entertainment, enjoying the show. Now, this animal is in the show. This looks like a wildebeest to me because he's got long curly horns. Now, I can see that this wildebeest is playing an instrument, a musical instrument. And I think he's playing a xylophone, a large xylophone. He's bending down to get nice and close. And he's got one of his arms up in the air, ready to hit the xylophone. I think if we went into that illustration, there'd be lots and lots of music and we'd be able to hear lots and lots of sounds. I'd like you to pause the video now and talk to your helper about the animal that's in my red circle. Pause the video now. Fantastic job, reception. Now we've got one more red circle to look at. In this red circle, I can see two crocodiles. Now they aren't looking at the show. They're looking at each other. I think they might be friends. Even though they're crocodiles, they look like they're smiling. They look like they're happy. I think they are chatting and having a conversation. I think that they're talking. Maybe they haven't seen each other in a long time. Maybe they're cousins. and it's been a long time since they saw each other and they're catching up. Maybe they're sharing news. They look very happy, enjoying seeing each other. I'd like you to pause the video now and talk to your helper about the crocodiles in this illustration. Pause the video now. Super job, reception. And now it's your turn. We've sent you 2 more illustrations from our story. What we'd really like is that you use everything you've learned in our video today to talk about these illustrations. You can talk about them with your helper. I'd like you to talk about what sounds you might hear. I'd like you to talk about how the characters might be feeling. I'd like you to talk about why they're there. Where have they come from? And if you'd like to do another challenge, you could even write some words or sentences to go with the pictures, the illustrations. Please send us your work. We would love to see what your ideas are. See you soon, reception. Bye.